Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you picked a good day to show up. And if you've been here before, you already know the drill. When something this big happens, I'm dropping everything to bring it to you. Today we're talking about a moment from the London stop of the BTS World Tour that has completely taken over fan timelines, and honestly, once you understand the full context, you'll get exactly why everyone lost their minds over it. This is the Jungkook moment that fans are now calling David in real life. Let's get into it. So let's set the scene first, because the timing and the setting of this moment actually matter a lot to the story. This all happened on the very first night of the London leg of the tour. First nights in any city already carry a special kind of energy. There's this electricity in the air because both the performers and the crowd know they're about to create something that only happens once. But this particular first night ended up being remembered for something a little unexpected, a small styling detail that turned into one of the most talked about moments of the entire stop. As Jungkook made his way across the stage, cameras caught him in an oversized mustard yellow jacket layered over a simple black top, with long beaded necklaces stacked around his neck, his hair falling loosely over his forehead. On its own, that description might not sound like anything unusual. Performers change outfits constantly, and BTS in particular has always leaned into bold, statement-making fashion throughout their career. But something about this specific combination, the color, the fit, the way he carried himself under the stadium lights, immediately triggered a wave of recognition across a huge portion of the audience watching both live and through clips online. Fans started connecting what they were seeing to a very specific character from a popular animated series, and the resemblance was strong enough that it wasn't just a handful of people noticing. It was seemingly everyone at once. The visual similarity was so immediate and so widely recognized that within minutes of clips circulating, a phrase started getting attached to the footage: David in real life. That's the label that ended up sticking, and it's the exact phrase that's been plastered across edits, reposts, and reaction videos ever since. Now, for anyone who isn't familiar with the reference, let me give you a little context without getting too deep into spoiler territory, because I know some of you watching might not have seen the source material yet. The character being referenced comes from a stylish, high-energy animated series with a futuristic, rebellious aesthetic, full of bold color palettes, oversized streetwear silhouettes, and a general sense of gritty, high-tech attitude. It's the kind of visual style that's become genuinely iconic within its own fandom, instantly recognizable even to casual viewers who might not have watched the whole show but have seen the art style floating around online. What made Jungkook's appearance line up so closely with that character wasn't necessarily an exact costume replica. Nobody's claiming he walked out in cosplay. It was more about the overall vibe, the specific color choice, the oversized proportions, the way the outfit moved with him as he performed. Fans have pointed out that whether this was a deliberate stylistic nod or simply a coincidental overlap in aesthetic choices, the effect was the same. It created this uncanny, almost cinematic sense that a beloved animated character had somehow stepped off the screen and onto a real stadium stage. And that's really the heart of why this moment hit as hard as it did. There's something genuinely thrilling about seeing a fictional aesthetic brought to life by a real person you already admire. It taps into this very specific kind of joy that exists at the intersection of fandoms, where two things you love suddenly collide in a way you never expected. If you've ever been part of any fan community, you know exactly the feeling I'm talking about, that jolt of excitement when worlds you didn't think were connected suddenly overlap in the most unexpected way. Let's talk about the reaction, because honestly, the online response to this moment has been just as entertaining as the moment itself. Almost instantly, clips of Jungkook in this outfit started getting paired side by side with reference images of the animated character in edits and comparison posts. Fans zoomed in on every detail: the jacket's oversized fit, the layered necklaces, the way his hair fell across his face, all of it getting cross-referenced against the character's design. And the more people looked, the more the comparisons seemed to hold up, which only fueled the excitement further. Comments sections exploded with reactions ranging from playful disbelief to genuine amazement. People were joking that stylists must have done this on purpose, others were speculating about whether Jungkook himself had any awareness of the resemblance while getting dressed backstage, and plenty of fans were simply expressing pure, unfiltered joy at seeing two things they love collide like this. It's the kind of moment that doesn't need a press release or an official statement to become a big deal. The internet does that work all on its own, especially when the visual comparison is this striking. It's also worth mentioning that this moment fits into a larger, ongoing conversation among fans about Jungkook's personal interests outside of music and performing. For a while now, longtime followers have picked up on subtle nods here and there suggesting a genuine appreciation for animation and pop culture media with that kind of bold, stylized visual language. Whether it showed through outfit choices, offhand comments, or small Easter eggs scattered across different appearances, there's been a running thread among dedicated fans tracking these little moments and piecing together a picture of his personal tastes beyond the stage persona everyone already knows. That's part of why this particular moment landed so well. It wasn't just a random outfit that happened to look cool. For a lot of fans, it felt like confirmation of something they'd already suspected, a little wink connecting the public performer with the private person underneath. Fans love this kind of thing because it makes the connection feel more personal, more human. It's not just about admiring a performance from a distance, it's about feeling like you're getting a small, genuine glimpse into who someone actually is when they're not just following a script or hitting choreography marks. Now let's talk a bit about why oversized, character-inspired streetwear has become such a powerful trend in performance fashion more broadly, because I think it helps explain why this look works so well on stage in the first place. Oversized silhouettes have this incredible ability to read as larger-than-life under stadium lighting and from a distance. When you're performing in front of tens of thousands of people, subtlety in fashion can get lost, but bold color, exaggerated proportions, and layered accessories translate incredibly well across huge distances and through camera lenses. That's part of why this particular look didn't just work conceptually, it worked practically too, giving Jungkook a silhouette that read clearly and dramatically even from the very back rows of the stadium. Combine that visual impact with his stage presence, the confidence, the energy, the way he commands attention during a performance, and you get exactly the kind of moment that goes viral. It's not just about the clothes themselves, it's about the whole package, the outfit, the movement, the charisma, all working together to create something that feels bigger than a simple wardrobe choice. According to a lot of fan commentary circulating after this moment, that combination of stage presence and styling is exactly what took this from being a cool outfit to being a genuinely iconic moment worth its own nickname. Let's dig a little deeper into the phrase David in real life itself, because I think it's worth appreciating how well that label captures the exact feeling fans were experiencing in real time. There's something almost playful and a little bit magical about that phrase. It's not just saying he looks like this character, it's framing the whole thing as if a fictional figure had somehow crossed over into reality, which, honestly, is exactly what it felt like watching those clips for the first time. That kind of framing turns a simple style comparison into something closer to a shared inside joke across the fandom, a phrase that immediately signals exactly what moment you're talking about without needing any further explanation. And once a phrase like that catches on, it tends to take on a life of its own. It becomes the caption under every repost. It becomes the search term people use to find more clips. It becomes shorthand in group chats and comment threads. Phrases like this are essentially the currency of internet fan culture, compact, memorable, and instantly recognizable to anyone plugged into the conversation. David in real life checks every one of those boxes, which is exactly why it spread as fast as it did. I also want to touch on the broader pattern this moment fits into, because it's not really an isolated incident. Throughout this world tour, fans have been closely tracking every single outfit change, hairstyle choice, and stylistic detail across each stop, treating the visual presentation of these shows almost like its own ongoing storyline running parallel to the music itself. Every city seems to bring some new detail worth talking about, and London's contribution to that ongoing conversation turned out to be this incredibly specific, incredibly viral animated character comparison. That kind of sustained attention to detail says a lot about how engaged this fandom is, and honestly, it says a lot about how much thought and intention tends to go into these performance looks in the first place. Whether or not the resemblance to this particular character was fully intentional, the fact that it resonated this strongly with such a huge audience speaks to just how carefully these visual choices tend to be received and analyzed by fans who are paying close attention to every single detail. Let's also talk about the ripple effect this moment had beyond just the existing fanbase, because that's honestly one of the more interesting parts of this whole story. Moments like this have a way of pulling in people who might not necessarily follow BTS closely but who are fans of the animated series being referenced. When a comparison like this catches fire, it doesn't stay contained within one fan community, it spills over into adjacent fandoms too. Fans of the show start sharing the clips because they're excited to see their favorite aesthetic referenced in such a massive, mainstream context, and that cross-pollination ends up amplifying the moment even further, pushing it into corners of the internet that might not have been paying attention otherwise. That's part of why moments like this tend to snowball so quickly. It's not just one fanbase reacting, it's multiple communities converging around the same clip, each bringing their own excitement, their own commentary, their own edits and reactions into the mix. By the time all of that activity compounds together, you end up with exactly the kind of viral spread we saw here, footage circulating far beyond the people who were watching the London show live or even the people who regularly follow BTS news. Now, I want to spend a little time appreciating the craftsmanship behind a moment like this, because even if the resemblance to the animated character wasn't the primary intention behind the styling, there's still a lot to admire about how well the look came together as a piece of performance fashion in its own right. The color choice alone deserves credit. A warm mustard yellow tends to read incredibly well under warm stage lighting, giving off a rich, glowing quality that plain black or white simply wouldn't achieve in the same way. Paired against the black base layer and the metallic shimmer of the layered necklaces, the whole outfit had a really strong visual rhythm to it, contrast, texture, and movement all working together. And then there's the way Jungkook actually wore it, because clothing on a mannequin and clothing on a performer in motion are two completely different things. The oversized jacket had this great sense of movement as he walked, shrugging it on and off his shoulders in a way that felt casual and confident rather than staged or overly deliberate. That kind of natural, lived-in energy is honestly really hard to fake, and it's a big part of why the whole moment felt so authentic and so easy to fall in love with. It didn't feel like a costume, it felt like an extension of his personality in that moment, which is exactly the kind of quality that turns a simple outfit choice into a genuinely memorable stage moment. Let's also talk a little about the timing of all of this within the broader arc of the tour, because context always adds an extra layer of meaning to moments like this. Kicking off a new city with a moment this memorable sets a certain tone for the rest of that leg of the tour. It becomes a reference point, something fans look back on and compare future shows against. Don't be surprised if this exact moment ends up being referenced in recap videos, fan-made highlight reels, and end-of-tour retrospectives further down the line. Moments like this have a tendency to become defining snapshots of an entire tour era, even if they started out as a spontaneous, seemingly small styling choice. I also think it's worth acknowledging just how much genuine joy this moment brought to people, because at the end of the day, that's really what this is all about. Fandom, at its best, is about shared excitement, about finding those little sparks of delight in unexpected places and getting to celebrate them together with a huge community of people who feel exactly the same way you do. This wasn't a moment built around controversy or drama, it was pure, uncomplicated fun, the kind of light-hearted internet moment that reminds you why being part of a fandom can be such a genuinely joyful experience. And honestly, that's part of why I wanted to make this video in the first place. Not every viral moment needs to carry some huge, complicated meaning behind it. Sometimes it's just genuinely delightful to watch millions of people collectively lose their minds over an outfit looking uncannily similar to a beloved animated character, and to watch the joy spread in multiply across different corners of the internet in real time. There's something really special about being able to witness a moment like that unfold, especially when it happens organically, without any kind of marketing push or official campaign behind it, just genuine audience recognition sparking a wave of enthusiasm all on its own. Before we wrap up, I want to open the floor to you. Did you catch this comparison the moment you saw the clips, or did it take a repost or a comment pointing it out before it clicked for you? And more importantly, do you think this was an intentional styling choice, or just a happy coincidence that turned into one of the most talked about looks of the tour? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely love reading through them, and I always end up learning new details or perspectives I hadn't considered from you all. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already part of the crew, and turn on notifications so you don't miss whatever comes next, because if this world tour has taught us anything so far, it's that there's always another unforgettable moment just around the corner. Thank you so much for watching, I'll catch you in the next video, and until then, take care of yourselves. Bye!